On Tuesday, proposals for a new Bill of Rights will be unveiled by Justice Secretary Dominic Raab. Mr. Raab has said the reforms will strengthen typically British rights and add a healthy dose of common sense to the interpretation of legislation and ruling. Mr. Raab added the bill would strengthen free speech by replacing court-innovated privacy law, and it will also emphasize that Parliament is the ultimate decision-maker on legislation, not UK courts. The change comes following the result of a legal case between Meghan Markle and the Mail on Sunday. The Court of Appeal upheld a High Court decision that the Duchess of Sussex had a reasonable expectation of privacy over a letter written to her estranged father, Thomas Markle, extracts of which were published by the paper. Speaking at the time of Meghan's ruling, the Justice Secretary said, "The drift towards continental-style privacy laws, innovated in the courtroom, not by elected lawmakers in the House of Commons, is something that we can and should correct." Besides, after the fallout from the Oprah Winfrey interview, does Harry have the will to create another global media circus? And can he afford to pursue a legal route that has proved beyond so many wealthy hacking victims? Sienna Miller, a multimillionaire Hollywood star, was desperate to bring NGN to court to air her claims that the Sun targeted her medical records when she was pregnant. She stopped short. "It was not my choice to be standing here, I wanted to go to trial," she said after accepting an undisclosed out-of-court settlement from the Murdoch company on Thursday. "I wanted to expose the criminality that runs through the heart of this corporation." She received £100,000 from NGN in 2011 after her phone was hacked by the News of the World. NGN denies any unlawful information gathering by the Sun and made no admission of liability with this latest settlement. "It was such a substantial sum," claimed Miller in a statement, "that it was tantamount to an admission of liability on the part of the Sun." Crucially, if a judge had awarded her less in damages than news groups offer, she could have faced colossal legal costs for taking up court time. So she accepted. "Unfortunately, the legal recourse is not available to me or to anyone who does not have countless millions of pounds." Actor Sean Bean and former cricketer Shane Warne were among 15 figures to settle historic claims with NGN last week. Harry, whose legal action over alleged phone hacking also relates to Reach, publishers of the Daily Mirror, has greater resources. The content deal he and his wife Meghan Markle cut with Netflix last year could generate $100 million, £76 million, over 5 years. Their podcast deal with Spotify is valued at $18 million, £13.6 million, over 3 years. But Harry also told Oprah that his family literally cut me off financially. Business title Forbes this year evaluated Harry and Meghan's current net worth as not that much, around $10 million, £7.6 million. Harry is claiming damages of £200,000 but NGN denies any wrongdoing by the Sun and argues that Harry is legally out of time for bringing a case over hacking by the News of the World, which it concedes took place. It is 15 years since the Sunday tabloid's royal editor Clive Goodman was jailed after intercepting voice messages relating to the royal household. There would be symmetry in a prince bringing the story to a close. Some might argue that phone hacking was conclusively dealt with in 2014 at the Old Bailey trial that saw former News of the World editor Andy Coulson jailed but his predecessor Rebekah Brooks walk free. Brooks, who resigned from Murdoch's organization in 2011 with a reported £10 million payout, was made chief executive of his News UK media stable in 2015 and has overseen its expansion in radio and television. Since she was cleared, NGN has spent vast amounts keeping hacking damages claims out of court. In accounts for the year to the end of June 2020, it wrote down the value of the Sun titles to zero and paid £52 million in fees and damages to phone hacking civil claimants. Miller's post-settlement statement alleges that Brooks, then editor of the Sun, reneged on a promise not to print details of her 2005 pregnancy. Claiming the paper confirmed her condition using private medical information obtained by a blagger, she said it forced her to make decisions about my own body that I have to live with every single day. She did not have the baby. The actor also made serious claims about Nick Parker, a senior Sun journalist who she says worked with a tracing agent, Christine Hart. Documents obtained in legal discovery allegedly included an invoice from Hart to Parker with the reference Sien's, sick, Miller pregnant research. A rich prince with a lifelong dislike of the press and a readiness to engage libel lawyers is hardly an obvious champion of media standards. But if the final chapter of this tawdry hacking scandal is to be dealt with in public, rather than settled in the shadows, all depends on Harry.